Funding for Decibel is provided by Texas Mutual Insurance.
There's a lot of folks on the spectrum that have these skills that we need.
Basically, we're the showcase. We're showing this to say, you see how we can do it, you can do it too.
Good evening, I'm Judy Maggio. Tonight on Decibel, an issue that impacts tens of thousands of Central Texans, but is rarely in the spotlight. People with disabilities make up the largest minority in our country, but their unemployment rate is far higher than the national average. KLRU recently hosted a town hall on disabilities and employment right here in Studio 6A. We heard firsthand accounts from people who've faced tough barriers to finding a job and discussed possible solutions. When people have disabilities, there are obstacles.
Yeah, and I think there's the physical, where you're just trying to get there, transportation, and then also there's that still the belief that people with disabilities may not do as good of a job. But that's something we found that the majority of people we work with tend to stay at that job longer, tend to be more productive, and they're good at adaptive. I mean, every day you're having to find a way to do things. And I think we bring that to work and the skill sets that we have. So the majority of people I know, giving them a chance. I think it's getting that foot in the door is one of the biggest issues and one of the biggest barriers. But once an employer realizes the benefits that come with that, they end up kind of looking farther and looking for more people.
Tonight, a look at workplace success stories and ways we can all help fight discrimination on the job front. We begin with the sheer scope of this issue. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 adults in the United States lives with a disability, about 61 million Americans. In Texas, more than 11% of our residents live with a disability, the second largest number of any state in the country. Cutting across every segment of society without regard to race, gender, or economic status, the term disability includes people who are blind, deaf, and have mobility challenges like spinal cord injuries. It also includes less visible disabilities like mental health conditions, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and people on the autism spectrum. While the U.S. economy remains strong and is considered to be at full employment, that encouraging statistic doesn't translate to job opportunities for many people with disabilities. The U.S. Census Bureau reports the unemployment rate for people with disabilities in Texas is 10.4%, more than double the unemployment rate for individuals without disabilities. Compounding the challenges facing this population is that Texas ranks 50th in the nation for funding services for people with disabilities, though it's the 12th largest economy in the world. Some people with disabilities are forging their own path to employment. A local deaf family is running a highly successful restaurant they started from scratch.
What's important is that they're here for the quality of the food. That's what we know. They're here for the ambiance. They're here for the uniqueness of crepes. You don't see it everywhere. So we really take pride in the quality of what we serve.
Crepe Crazy is a favorite in Austin's crowded food scene. The restaurant was started by Vladimir Giedemann and his wife, who are both deaf. Now their 2 deaf children are co-general managers. The eatery's success is due in part to the delicious crepes, but the quality customer service plays a big role too. It's an experience that sometimes catches hearing people off guard.
Usually they're surprised for sure, but the Austin community is really wonderful about the deaf. They're deaf friendly. When a hearing person comes up and they're a little taken back, we just try to guide them through the process using gesture and the menu and pointing it out, and then they realize this really isn't so bad. It's actually kind of easy.
Almost all of the Crepe Crazy employees are deaf, and the hearing workers are required to know American Sign Language. Moa DeVere manages the South Lamar location.
Yes, I'm a cook. I make I prep the food. I do everything A to Z here. So I'm proud of what I can do. I'm proud of myself that I can cook everything. When I first came in, I was really nervous and I wasn't sure what to do. And I said, nope, you can do it. And then I started making the crepes and it was pretty easy.
Like Moa, Sergey and Michelle had very little restaurant experience before taking over Crepe Crazy. But both are now putting their college degrees to good use, keeping the family business thriving.
We wear multiple hats. We do bookkeeping, we manage the staff, we schedule catering, we coordinate everything and just get it all to flow. I do most of the heavy lifting personally, I think that, yeah.
The Giedermans and their employees are an example for other deaf people with dreams of becoming a business owner. Students from the Texas School for the Deaf come here to not only learn basic life skills like ordering and paying for food, but to see role models in action.
It's definitely a rare thing to see a deaf-owned business, and so we take the opportunity so that they can see, oh, there are people that are in the community that work, that can sign, and that there are potential jobs out there and things that they can do.
Basically, we're the showcase. A lot of deaf people come in and they're like, oh wow, a deaf owns this, you have deaf employees, everything is, all of our contractors are deaf, our electricians, everybody. So when they realize that we're really just showing it is possible. I hate the cliche that deaf people can do everything except for hear, but it's true, we can do anything. It's only if there's a little effort in trying to communicate. You really never know if you don't try. So we're showing this to say, you see how we can do it, you can do it too.
As they look to the future, this brother and sister team have their eyes set on even bigger goals.
We're actively looking for a third location currently. So when that opportunity presents itself, we'll definitely be going for it.
And their hope is to keep this family business going for the next generation of Giedermans. When Martin Carifi lost his eyesight at age 19, he didn't let it stop him from pursuing his dreams. These days, you'll find him putting his master's degree to work at Capital Metro. Part of his job is ensuring people with disabilities have access to reliable transportation.
I work just like any other employee with just a few pieces of technology. Short of that, I have nothing different in my work environment than any other employee does. If you're looking for a job, it's really important that you have a real sense for what your skill sets are and that you find the best way for you as an individual to communicate what those skills are, because nobody else can do it for you. In a lot of ways, you're selling yourself to a person who may never have met another person with a disability in their life, at least not in the context of employment. So the ADA was passed in 1990. It includes civil rights protections for people with disabilities in the employment, services and programs offered by state and local governments, services offered by private businesses. Transportation is included in there as well. I argue that that's the biggest piece. My job title is Program Manager of System-Wide Accessibility. That means I'm effectively responsible for all of Capital Metro's ADA compliance. What I've tried to communicate across the agency is that if you have a program or a project, assume that it has an accessibility component until told otherwise, because everything does. And one of the things that I really try to communicate is that it's about values, not statutes. So it's not about meeting the letter of the law. It's not about whether or not something's 30 inches wide. It's really how does it effectively change people's lives and make it better, How does it make our service better? How does it make it easier to understand? And how does it make it, how do we make it so people can ride with more confidence and ease and comfort as they do what they do every day?
You know, I would say if the person seems qualified to do the job, absolutely hire them to do the job. When Martin was on my team, he just did an absolutely excellent job. I never, ever, ever had to do anything different with Martin than I do with any other employee that I'm managing. There was never any time ever that he didn't perform absolutely how he should, so it was amazing. He has, you know, such a deep understanding of transportation in Austin and a deep understanding of the people in Austin and what they need in their daily lives. And it's just been one of the pleasures of working here, of having that experience of working with Martin and learning the system through his eyes and talking to him about it every day. So.
I think it's important for employers and individuals with disabilities themselves to focus on ensuring that they have the same opportunities for professional development as their other colleagues. A person with a disability can get employed, they can maintain that job, they can hold on to that job for years, but they may not see the same trajectory as others might. People with disabilities are just people. They're people who have a different set of skills, or maybe perhaps they have the same set of skills as other people, but we're just another group of people that make your environment just as diverse as the people you already have.
You may see the white cane Martin and other blind people use as a tool to safely get from one place to another, but it's also a symbol of independence and capability. Nowhere is that more evident than the yearly White Cane Day celebration in Austin.
I always wanted to do cheer. I always liked cheerleading because they're like pretty and you get bows.
We carry a banner and we yell out cheers.
You have to be able to work well under pressure. You have to be able to work as a team.
Definitely for me, staying straight. That's like kind of a visually impaired thing that you have to worry about.
White Cane Day, it used to be that it was a day to make the public aware because a lot of folks didn't know what a white cane was. But now it's like a celebration of being independent, being equal, living a life just like you and I. I think we are the largest in the nation. We like to say the world, but I don't think I should go that far. So now we're up to almost 900 folks that come. It's so powerful to have so many different age ranges, visually impaired, multiply impaired, all together in one place and sharing the celebration.
It's really nice knowing that there's a lot of people who understand what I go through on a daily basis because sometimes it's hard to explain to people, like, I can't see.
People, like, they're clueless around, oh, they're blind, they can't do this and that. But, like, yeah, so I just give them, like, yeah, we can. Yeah. Bam, look.
We can cheer and do everything.
We were leading the marches.
I've done it before because this is my 3rd year in cheer, so.
First year for me.
So the marches start at 9 and they start all over the city. We make signs that kind of explain what we're doing, you know, instead of a bunch of blind people walking. This is White Cane Day, we're celebrating our independence, we feel powerful.
We have people telling us, like, where to go. I don't know how to
Yeah, they're
explain.
leading us.
Yeah, they're leading us, but we're, like, leading the rest of the crowd.
Yeah. We had to get oriented to what spots we were going to be in, so we were kind of mentally prepared for like how our routes are going to be. You're going to use that your whole life, even if like you want to get a guide dog or something, you're going to need those skills and you're going to need to be really perfected with them. How to cross the street safely or what buses to use and things like
How
that.
to use, like, Uber or rideshare. Like, we can live our life like normal people. We just have to do it differently.
It's interesting because a lot of our kids think that the public think of them as poor critters, like, oh, it's a blind person, oh. But really and truly, I think that the public thinks of them as heroes. Yeah, they can do a rock wall, and they can do a bounce house and run a race and, be on a cheerleading squad. They just do it a little differently.
Many of the barriers people with disabilities face begin with the attitude of others. That attitude is often rooted in misinformation and misunderstanding about what it's like to live with a disability. We turn to former UT student body president and disability rights advocate Alejandrina Guzman to help dispel some of those myths.
My name is Alejandrina Guzman, and here are 5 myths about people with disabilities. People with disabilities are brave and courageous just because they're disabled. No, it's about adjusting to a disability, which requires adapting to a lifestyle. It's not about being brave and courageous. Is it because you just see me as someone who's disabled that you're saying that? Or can you tell, do you know me? One, it kind of minimizes everything else that I've done in a way that is I don't know you. Thank you for being you. You're doing great. It's there are so many other ways you could say that and not be condescending. People with disabilities can't have sexual relationships. No, we are sexual beings just like everyone else. The ADA protects us from all of our challenges. Actually, it's super limited and it has a lot of loopholes. The ADA actually only really protects you in different ways in public spaces, but not private entities. Disabled people have marriage equality. No, that's not true. Disabled people lose a lot of benefits when they get married. That people with disabilities want your sympathy. No, we don't want you to feel sorry for us. We want you to empower us, be our allies and co-conspirators every day. That means that you're actively taking action every day and uplifting the disability community.
Some local employers are doing their part to shatter some of those myths, and they're also reaping the benefits of hiring people with disabilities. The ARC of the Capital Area has partnered with Dell Technologies in a 2-week training and 12-week paid internship called Autism Assets at Work.
There's a lot of folks on the spectrum that have these skills that we need and are struggling to find.
Jackson Henry's internship focused on robotic process automation. He says he's taking away more than just a new skill set.
This experience is definitely helping me out in a positive way. I'm getting some experience with working with other people. I'm getting to learn a few new skills. I'm getting the opportunity to prove to others what I can do.
Kate Causeway has an undergrad degree in environmental sciences, her master's degree in chemistry and engineering, and is certified as a medical scientist. But despite all her education, she struggled to find a job.
I have gone on lots of interviews and have heard this similar story, we like you on paper, but actually who I am and how I would be within their team, they were overall and thought that comfortable.
And when Kate found out she was selected for the Dell internship,
I got the phone call and I was like, oh man, this is a huge deal in my life. And so I'm just extremely happy to be here.
Making special accommodations for the interns hasn't impacted Dell's bottom line.
It's not where we're spending a lot of extra money to accommodate the talent. It's actually been very, very manageable.
They're contributing to the growth of teams. We have several interns that are automating processes. They're moving the company forward, so they're able to bring their unique skills, the way they think about it, and create new things for the company.
It's a double win for Dell. It helps keep them competitive in the marketplace, and this talent pool brings in fresh ways to look at business problems.
So a lot of the skills that we're seeing are helping us make that happen.
HEB values diversity among their employees, who they call partners. Their handbook specifically mentions disabilities in its diversity statement.
Each and every person counts, and we really support that.
In June 2018, William Mullican interviewed for a job at the Pflugerville HEB.
And he came in and had a smile on his face. He gave us hugs right away like we were old friends, and I knew from the start that it was going to be a good hire for HEB.
I am a backer. I love hugs, help customers see me again at my HEB.
Customers love William. They will sit in a line that he's bagging on just to have him bag their groceries. They love him taking them out to the car, helping them out. And he's really a joy to work with.
William is an important part of the HEB team, and his coworkers threw him a good luck party before he competed at the Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi. That good luck and William's skill paid off.
I won silver medal.
William brings a joy to the store, and I don't think, the store wouldn't be the store if it wasn't for William being here.
People with disabilities use the arts as one way to express their creativity. It's even better when that self-expression is rewarded with a paycheck. Creativity takes on many forms, from canvas to a theater.
And you can change it up for each corner. Okay.
The ARC of the capital area works with Central Texans who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. Their art education program allows their clients to develop their artistic side.
It's an opportunity for artists with disabilities to come in, have a place to work on art, supplies for art, and help one-on-one instruction for their artwork. When they're ready to sell their artwork, we put it into shows. And so once we get into shows, we teach them how to sell their artwork, how to process it through our payment system, how to get it ready for a show and make sure it's prepared to go home into somebody's home.
I have done a lot of art, different kinds of art, done some abstracts and stuff like that. But the work that I primarily focus on is doing a lot of animals and pet portraits over the years. I had to learn how to promote my artwork and sell it, and learn how to deal with the commissions and stuff, and they helped me learn about that here.
All of our artwork that's sold, our artist receives a commission on it. They're so excited that one, somebody feels value in their artwork, but also they know they're getting a paycheck. They know they're getting paid to do what they love.
Tonight, we've shared stories of people with disabilities in the workforce and in the arts. We want to close with a story from the sports world.
I just find the longer I run, the longer I want to run. There is a big misconception about people who are blind or visually impaired running, and I think the more people we get set up to be guides and the more visually impaired people we can get running, the better. Why push it?
So you are here for the guide clinic. That's going to happen over there right under the light.
Tonight we're hosting a guide running clinic for people who want to become a guide for a visually impaired or blind runner. So we're teaching them kind of what goes into being a guide and the different techniques that you use for guiding someone in a race or in training if they're visually impaired.
William likes me to run on his right side, right? Is that what we did today?
Left side.
See, this is important why communication is key, but we'll just demonstrate over here. Whatever
If you want to be a little bit faster than the athlete, you're tied to them or you're next to them for the whole race.
We're gonna go this direction. We have a left turn.
It's such a weird,
It is.
And I've already been on this track too. So communication is very important. Do you need to know about if there are people to the right of you, to the left of you? Do you need to know about turns? If there's a bump or a step, you'll obviously need to tell them about that. And you need to be able to maintain the distance and maintain the speed.
How crazy was that?
But it's also important to keep them motivated. You're just kind of their own personal cheerleader throughout the race.
A marathon is a very long experience, and it gets really boring. And it's good to have someone to talk with and just kill the time.
Can you see anything?
No.
And Lily, right?
Yes.
Okay, Lily. Now let's start running, Lily.
When someone
asked me if I could pace a visually impaired runner. I figured, sure, I can probably do that. What I didn't know is how much more effort it was going to take because you actually have to be their eyes and ears. But I also realized after I did it the first time that it was so rewarding. You can't put a price on it.
Running is a really enjoyable thing, but if you have a visual impairment, it might be harder for you to just pick up and go run somewhere. So it's really important for us to find people and train them in how to guide people with visual impairment so that they can just pick up and call their guide and say, hey, let's go for a 5-mile run, and they can go enjoy it.
Let's get more people out there. Let's get the community involved. Being blind doesn't prevent someone from running.
If you or someone you love lives with a disability, we hope tonight's program was meaningful. If you're an employer, we hope our stories might spark a potential opportunity at your place of business. As always, we welcome your comments and ideas and invite you to follow Decibel on social media and YouTube. Thanks for sharing part of your evening with us.
Funding for Decibel is provided by Texas Mutual Insurance.